as soon as you said that these ghost stories were coming out of the Old West, that made sense to me. Anything older, I don't really know. Native American stuff is very difficult for me to. I think it's difficult for everybody to learn about because we live in a time where everybody wants to clump them together and say, hey, those are Native Americans. But actually they were drastically different. When you look at, I know this is a terrible way to put it, but a lot of street names and stuff will be named after Native American stuff. And when you come from down south where you are, you hear a certain type of pronunciation, but you go up to Washington and you see Puyallup and it's an entirely different language and it makes you think it must be an entirely different culture. But I guess where I'm going with this is, did any of the ghost stuff come from before the Old West?
Not very much right now.
Nothing that pops to mind. You could say yes, because there's tales of people going out there looking for gold and dying in the desert. There's supposedly satchels of gold somewhere from a mule train that died in the desert, got ambushed or whatever. And so you could just stumble over a bush or a rock or something out there and kick up a bunch of gold for yourself.
We're hoping anyway.
Trying.
Yeah, right. Now we know where the real motivation came for this film. Right. We need somebody to pay us $20,000 so that we have an excuse to go stand around in the desert and kick over things that don't have snakes under them, hopefully. So most of anything having to do with ghosts would be people from the Old West referencing that in their story.
I believe it would be mostly from colonization period, or when progress, quote unquote progress, finally made its way out there.
Well, sure. Yeah,
we're hoping to speak with some, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. We're hoping to speak to some tribes out there, some different reservations, and get some insight from them as well as to what's been going on there longer than, the Europeans have been there. There has to be legends. There has to be stories, ghost stories. We just haven't uncovered them, and it's a resource that we haven't really stumbled upon yet. How to find these stories, I guess.
Sure. And I've heard that the what we take as entertainment and something we're trying to figure out scientifically, I think one case would be skinwalkers with the Navajo. I have heard that they don't really like people using what would be part of their spirituality for anything other than spirituality.
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah. So very tight-lipped about a lot of that stuff.
Right. But some of them just aren't that. And when I say them, I mean the types of stories. Some of them are not connected spiritually. Mm-hmm. So I'm sure you'd be able to find information there. Now, was there a big Old West presence in the area? Because when I think of gold, I don't really think of down there. I think of further up the state.
It's the area is pretty rich in quartz. So I think a lot of people have tried their hand at finding gold, and there are some mines out there in that area. I know so a stagecoach line ran through the middle of it, a pretty big one, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, Butterfield line, I believe it was
called.
And
then of course you've got that train line that runs in probably in the late 1800s. But as far as, I think there was a decent amount of gold, but it's not as famous as you would say have in the mines in the silver mines in Nevada, or some of the stuff up in Northern California and Sutter's Mill and things like that. It's not, I don't think it's quite as popular as those places, but I'm pretty sure they did some stuff.
I think a lot of the gold that's reportedly missing in the park is gold that was traveling through the park, not necessarily gold that was, mined from the park.
Maybe from Arizona.
Yeah, exactly. On its way to LA, basically.